As it is 7 PM, we will officially call this meeting of the Rhode Island City Council to order. Council has had an opportunity to review the claims for payment and the minutes from last month's meeting. I'll entertain a motion.
Like, I was gonna ask for a little clarity in regard to the minutes, if I could.
Okay.
Where we talk about the zoning ordinance violation. The way I read that, toward the end of the sentence, it says, until the council can decide on amending the current ordinance. And I don't think we have decided if we're going to amend it. But I think it implies the way that's written that we are going to. And I just wondering about a little clarity in regard to that we're gonna discuss it and possibly change it.
Do you want to add the word possible?
Well, yeah,
Possible amendment
just so that it doesn't read that we're
on potential amendment?
potential amendment, yeah.
Okay.
Something like, yep. Not trying to be a stickler, just
Yep.
I
want to
would
try to
agree
make
with
sure.
that. Anything else? Not, I think there was half a motion that was
Yes,
coming
I
out of
will.
Chris's mouth.
Sorry for my interruption.
No, you're fine. I also move to approve with the amendment on that zoning ordinance violation.
I'll second.
Motion and second to, I'm sorry, was it just the minutes or was it the claims for payment?
Minutes and claims, sorry.
Motion and second to approve the claims for payment as presented, as well as the minutes from last month's meeting with the clarification on further discussion on possible changes in the zoning ordinance. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Land use permits, a fence for Excel.
I'm happy to say that Tracy took care of that one all by herself. She has personal knowledge of that one, and she got Excel on the right track, so that looks good.
Okay, we'll go through these one at a time.
Motion to approve Excel's land use permit.
I'll second.
Motion and second to approve land use permit for a fence for Excel Energy. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Sheds at the Island Living Townhomes.
I see no issues with that building permit. I don't think he has approved it, the location yet, so.
Is there a motion to approve? Or do you have questions about it?
I guess it doesn't show a distance from any of the lot lines. Do you know what they are, Dave?
She's well
Over
15
the-
foot, yeah.
Okay. I'd make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and second to approve the land use permit for a shed for the Island Living Townhomes. Any further discussion?
Just wondering if I need to abstain. I know, I just. Deb and I are on the board.
So this is-
Which the Island Living Board has already approved it, but
But we don't want any personal stake in it.
we do not.
I think it's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nothing further, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Carried. And third, land use permit for a patio for Minix.
And Tracy and I had visited about that again too. They removed the deck and they're gonna just put a cement slab in there. I don't know that requires a land use permit, being it's not a structure above the surface, so. But she said put it in there, and I said, okay, I'll look.
Yeah, if it's just,
It's
if it's
permanent,
flush with the
so
ground,
Then it
though it's
doesn't
not
need
a
it.
building.
Okay.
So I've never required it when I was administrator.
Do we want mention made that does not meet the criteria for requiring a use permit.
That's fine.
Do we have to refund,
They probably haven't paid
No.
for it yet, things that they have to.
And when he came in and did it, he came in and asked, and I told him, like, I'm not 100% if you actually need this, but we're gonna do it just.
Yeah.
So we-
Better to be proactive than not
Yes.
do it and find out afterwards. you
Yep.
did work.
Yeah.
All right, open forum. Anyone here to speak on items not currently on the agenda? To your head.
what's that mean?
Yeah,
Have you
I'm
heard
here
anybody
to
else
speak
say
on the ordinance change of living on Main Street properties or commercial Main Street properties. I believe it's on the.
Yeah, it is on the agenda. Yep, we'll get to that. Sorry, I just leaned back the same time you leaned back.
Just like driving.
All right, moving on, Splash Island Adventure Park update.
All right. Here I am.
Welcome.
Speed All right, I just have a little follow-up. We might take you one and passing it down. Okay, oh, there's one in there for each of you guys, single.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, so this week, we're getting stuff done, parking lot hopefully to be completed pending weather. Shade structure is supposed to be going in June 13th. The shade structure, if you flip to the last page, you can see the splash pad is kind of that little, funny little, like peanut shape. And then the pickleball courts are off over there, and the shade structure has the vertical lines, and it connects between them, so that's going in hopefully this week. So that'll be kind of nice. Yeah, and then other things on there that just, there's lots left to do. But we're getting there, we're chipping away. There is a pond fence that needs to go up before I think we all agreed, Tracy, that the pond fence is a necessity since it's so close. So we're working on that, and we need some trees planted, the DNR checkout date, we have possibly seeding it. People have asked us, and I'm just putting this out there so you guys can take it and do with it as you please, but people have asked the splash pad, when they come to use the facility, is there a way for them to make a donation? And we will be closing our Venmo account when this is said and done, because some places use like a QR code and you scan it, like there's a assignment for that facility. And then you scan it and then they can send donations that way. That was a thought thrown out to us. Maybe making a lockbox of some sort, I don't know. But many people have asked, like, they're so excited to use it that they would like to donate, and so.
That, they could go in the foundation fund, I would guess, designated for the splash pad.
Yeah, I don't know if
If
that's
they want it designated, they just have to say.
signage somewhere or something, I don't know, but.
I'm not a fan of the lockbox.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
neither, 100%, like, we even have
No,
we
'cause
put
it-
a little hole in the building that could drop
If
it
it's a
in.
QR code where they can, yeah, they can just enroll a certain account or have it go into that.
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there, cause we will be, that, we don't wanna touch that situation, so, yeah. Yeah, and also I've been talking with the Lions, maybe to get an AED out at that facility. They've been talking about where they would like to see them, and so we recently just connected. So that'd be kind of nice.
They put a what?
AED.
We talked
Oh,
about
yeah, yeah.
having one at the ball
Yeah.
field anyway, so one in the vicinity there would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, and then I did not listen to the last meeting. And so I heard my name was maybe thrown around a little bit about like money and stuff like that. So I just kind of wrote down a little narrative there. The total money raised since we started in August 2021, like actual money in the bank account was 281,000. That doesn't include the benches that have been donated, all kinds of things have been donated. But the mortuary money right there, that's a physical number. But coming out of that, it cost us $5,000 to start our nonprofit status. So it's not like we have that physical money. We had to pay for dueling pianos, that kind of stuff. But so I kind of just broke down some things on where I see numbers and how I was looking at numbers. And I have Tracy, and I think you just pulled it up, and I think we're super close because I didn't do the total cents, but we have this splash pad has paid the city $145,488. It looked about the same there, and we have, after we take out the playground expense, we have $30,355 left in the splash pad account. So with that, that's 175,000-ish actual dollars that we will be able to pay you in money. So, yeah, and then putting the looping grant in there. So, because Tracy, where the exact amount is for how much the city has paid? I know we have a chunk of money left to be paid. Do you know the exact number to what?
Yeah, it was all in that spreadsheet that I had given.
So-
to
Yeah, that
you.
was kind of
Paid,
confusing.
paid to date, and then these are just estimated yet. So I took the two of them and added them together. So that would be the total, 560,814. I took the first and the third lines. The second one is in kind, so just total dollar amounts. And then I subtracted, if you take the total amount that we're estimating the project to cost divided by 2, that would be the amount the grant should pay.
Right.
So, and then subtracting that off of what we paid so far. And then also subtracting your donations and the other grants was this amount. So what did we come up with? This is the number we came up with. And the city had agreed to pay for the utility work, right? Is that what we? And Tracy thought the cost of that was about,
24,000.
So we're close.
We're pretty close to it.
we're pretty close to following my,
I'm trying to read it sideways.
I know.
I want to make sure that we hit that 700,000 threshold, because if we're at 350,000 that we have spent as a team, then we get from the DNR 350,000.
Mhm.
And so I'm just afraid we're gonna come up a little bit short. And so we're like ticking the clock. And so, yeah,
Although we don't know that that estimated number is correct either.
Yeah,
Correct.
those are estimates,
So-
and we are very, very close.
So if this is the total, 693, we're pretty close.
pretty close, yeah, pretty close.
So,
Okay,
right?
Yeah.
Because the most we can get is 350.
50, yeah,
So
and after that, yeah,
we're pretty close.
so 693.
But if, that, the estimated amount, we don't know, so I mean, we're estimating.
Mhm,
So,
mhm. Yeah. Okay.
does that make sense, Neil?
I'm gonna get a picture of it later.
I can just, well, I did, yeah.
Yeah,
That one thing we talked about this last time, but we didn't really have them.
Yeah.
yes, I heard my name was around and nobody has asked me for any financial questions or anything, so I did not bring anything else to the
No,
table.
no.
I just wanted to break this down because I was like, this is what we have done so far, and I hope that it has met your expectation. Yeah, so, and then on the second page, Tracy and I disagree on this. And, but I have a bid for a pickleball fence. And so this is my fault, I was kicking myself because we talked about this many times and I loved how the splash pad area looked without a fence. But the more I've learned about pickleball and the more I'm down at the site, I think that it would be, not a good idea to put a fence around the pickleball court. One, the parking lot and the pickleball fence are super close to each other. And there was a little hiccup found today already. The elevations, it's always something. And so we were out at site looking at some stuff and there's gonna have to be a little whoop in there. There's some fancy word in concrete world, people. And so the water can drain, otherwise it will all flow into the pickleball court. And just to make you aware, the pickleball court to get painted was $18,000. And he recommended that no bikes, no scooters, no lawn chairs, no benches, nothing on the court. So if we do not fence in this court, you know what fun kids will do. Like, they're going to be riding in there, there's going to be benches moved around so that people can sit in there. And I want to be proactive versus reactive. Yes, we could wait and we could put a fence up later, but $18,000 of hard-earned money, time, effort, I think would be a disservice. I think also for liability with the street, it's not that far from the street, kids running, I just think it would be great. And so on the second page, I asked for a quote for the people that are also putting up the fence around the pond, and the quote for the pickleball fence would be $15,980. And we had a little fun fact happen last week. We didn't even know there was a huge asset given to our community, not just Splashpad, but our community. And someone, a local business has donated $10,000 to us. We did not even have to sell a donut. We didn't have to do anything. And so I would like to put that $10,000 towards that $15,980 of a fence and see what we can do with the next $5,000. I've reached out to the CNC to see if they have any donations that they could give to us. I don't know, I would love to be proactive versus reactive on this court, because I will be so bummed to see people in there scratching it. So that is where that, I also put the site map in there, because with, construction, I put in a little green area there by the north of the pickleball courts there. What happened is we were gonna put 6 foot of landscaping there, because it was kind of a little transition piece, stop the balls, and the tree that came down, now we have to move the parking lot over a little bit more, so 5 foot. And so my vote is just to make it concrete, to make a little walking path for people who get out of their cars that could hopefully walk around the fence and then go into the splash pad that way and just have a sidewalk there instead of landscaping where we have rocks, and just make it concrete and be done with that part of it. I am asking, I guess, you guys to let us use that $10,000 that was just donated to us on Friday to put towards a fence and to see what we can do with the next 5,000. I'm not saying, I don't know if we do even half the fence. I just think it would be really nice to put that up and keep as much traffic out of there that doesn't belong there.
So I have a question on the estimates that are left. Does that include any pathways in between the splash pad pickleball area, ball court, and the old ballpark complex?
I don't think so.
Okay.
There's a walking path
Yeah.
right
Yeah,
here, and then it connects to the track.
So
right,
there's
but I
going-
don't think we have estimates as to what that is going to cost.
Yes, Jake has that.
Is that part of Jake's?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, that's
I
one of
didn't
his, like-
remember that part.
Yeah, yep, that's one of Jake's, yep.
Because when the DNR
Yep.
come here, they'll make sure all that
Connects.
Yep.
that it connects and it's accessible.
Yep,
So-
that's gonna be a granule path,
Yeah,
everything
okay.
else is concrete, but the
Yeah,
DNR
okay.
will accept that ADA, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yep.
I didn't remember that being part of Jake's estimate. I know he's put in a bunch of stuff, but I.
Mhm. Yeah, that's on his to-do list, once
Okay.
his parking lot's done.
Okay.
So, yeah,
One other thing that is not listed in there is Jake's help with the parking lot and getting the groundwork done. That is not in our estimates because that ended up just kind of being the last minute. We're hoping that, David was gonna be able to help more with that.
Who's Jake again?
Harrison,
Harrison, so that
Oh,
amount
okay.
is not in our estimates, because that was kind of the last minute thing.
so that, there's a couple expenses that have come up that have frustrated me because it feels like we knew they were coming. We could have not had these expensive, which I think right now could total an amount that is not a reflection of the project and should have been not a situation we're in. And so, yeah. Mhm.
So the estimates outstanding invoices, that's the 192,000. So that could be 180,000 or it could be 200,000.
Yeah, very well could go either way. There's estimates and not actual.
What if we would put some sort of signage, because I don't want to see that court get ruined either. But if we put up some kind of signage in between now and the time when we actually know our dollars, just to make sure that people stay off it or whatever the rules are. And then we could have a chance to wait until we get all the numbers in. And if
Because
need
we're
be, we'd
still
have
gonna
to-
want this stuff
budget.
off even after the fence is around, so it's not like the signage would go to
Right,
waste. We're still gonna wanna leave that up and say, no, we can't be on there.
where you put it, but somewhere near there. A pole or something. I don't know.
I don't see the benefit in doing a partial fence either. I thought of that too, could we do part of it and add to it at a later time? It's, if they're going to go on it, they're just gonna go to the open part.
That's the only thing I was thinking, like, right along that west side of the pickleball courts from the splash pad to the north. That is where a concrete sidewalk already is, and then north of the pickleball courts is where concrete is, and like, in my mind, kids come tooling around. And wherever there's concrete connected, they're gonna do their little business. So I thought, even if just putting that up, cause I understand the money, I'm the 500th person to come talk about money with you guys, you know, I get it.
Can
But
I say something? As far as the fence goes, like, it's gonna be impossible to grow grass without putting a fence around, because like, I mean, the balls go all over, none of us are very good at this. pickleball.
super windy down
And
there.
it's very windy, so
Yeah.
like, no matter how hard you try to stay off the grass, like, you're gonna be running in the grass, and then you're gonna be tracking that mud back on the
Which makes
pickleball.
the
It's a
courts
slip
that,
trip hazard, so like, we
I put
do
some in
need
my
a
list too,
fence
yes.
of sorts somewhere around it.
Are there any other fundraisers planned?
No, there's not,
Could we suggest that there be another fundraiser plan? Or-
Well, you know, if these estimates are low,
right,
then fence may be in our favor, because we're going to need that extra money to get the full amount from the DNR grant, yeah.
And if we move forward with either like the Venmo code or like, you know, the QR code, or having it be a specific like drop off either here at the city office in the Waterton, or even over at the bank, where people could designate money specifically towards the splash pad. I mean,
cause if we use that 10,000 that you weren't expecting, you know, like, cause up until last week, we thought we only had 30,000 to give you. It was, you know, that's only a $6,000, yeah. And the way this project goes, we'll see what comes up because of it, you know?
I don't think anybody thinks that we don't need it, we definitely need it.
Yeah.
The question is, we've got a big unknown number here yet, so
I guess
that's my concern.
my next question is if they're already coming once to install the fence around the pond, are we gonna incur additional charges if we have to have them come out again to put in the fence around the pickleball fence? Or around
Yeah,
the
I had
pickleball?
them do two separate because we need to get that fence around the pond.
Yeah.
And so it is two separate freight, you know, two separate mileage, it is two separate, and
But if we combined them as one, then we would just have,
I could
What
ask.
would you say, given
what would we save there if we had it done at the same time?
Mm-hmm, that's a good question, yeah. Mm-hmm.
what do you think the time frame is for knowing, pretty sure on all the costs, would you say?
It's gonna be tight, don't you think?
Yeah,
It's
it's gonna be.
It's gonna be real tight.
Yeah.
Mhm. Weather doesn't look good this week.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, and everything goes off this parking lot, so like, and then hiccups come up, like, hey, there's hiccups, and we gotta get cured, and, yeah. Ooh, bless you. It's gonna be tight, so what Jake has a lot of work left there, cause he has to finish his concrete, big old slab of this parking lot, then he has to like rake it, and he has to level it, and he's got a walking path it, and he's got work to do, so. He's been really great to work with too, but yeah, he's got job security at the splash pad site. So, and then after all that happens, we can put in the trees and, yeah,
Have it seated.
and seeded possibly if it's the right fit. Yep. Mhm.
What's being used, I drove by there tonight and it was occupied. So,
we've used it. We've been kicked off at home.
So the city employee hours that are listed here, I mean, those are in kind, can be used also. Should we, I think, I think we should be putting in some hours for Deb and for Tracy and for Dawn.
And I asked that to the DNR, and our hours don't cover anything. It's just the public works. guys'
Manual labor hours only.
Yeah. I know, I was really disappointed by
Did you go
that.
shovel some dirt?
I should.
There's another 12 hours that should be on there
There's,
too.
yeah,
that
those,
we've
There's a lot
recently
more
got.
hours.
Well, a lot more.
There's-
There should
Yeah.
be, yeah.
there's quite a bit more hours that are not on there for just this
Yeah, I'm
year, the
just-
past, for
but
all three guys.
they give no
that are
credit
on
for
there.
the administrative of obtaining the grant and
Unfortunately-
everything else.
No,
Seems ridiculous.
I asked.
But
I tried, because I was about ready to really put it in there, but no, they won't give me any benefits for my time.
But again, the in-kind hours are an estimate,
Mhm.
so actual may come out to be higher.
Right, and
Yeah.
that you were already paying the salary of the gentleman working, like Dave and Dusty, so like that's not an added expense to the city. You know, it's that in-kind part that beefs that number up, but doesn't cost. Yeah. I mean, do you want me to come back in July? It was different, yeah.
When do you need to know on this fence? When are they scheduled to move forward around the pond?
I told him, the pond got
The
signed
pond-
today,
Yeah,
and
it
he
needs to
said
be done ASAP.
he has been checking for me, and he said he could possibly get it in 2 weeks. So, I was going to ask my city.
So if we're going to try and save money by having it done all at once, then make a decision.
I asked for a payment plan? Okay, no. Yeah,
Once we know that, could we do maybe a phone or email or something, or not?
Once you have the information, I think so. If you send it out by email and
We're
then
gonna save
reply
a
to
couple
you.
thousand or whatever, like that,
so maybe, and I should talk to
you know.
Ben Erickson and say, what could be the timeline on this? Can we get any, I was like, can you give me a nonprofit discount? Can you give me a teacher discount? I was asking for all the discounts and, yeah. So I could ask him, I would guess only, maybe a half
I mean, I'll take classes.
So,
I think it sounds to me like it's needed. My hesitation is the 192, which we don't know if that's the accurate number, and our total investment already is substantial. So, I mean, so $6,000, to me,
right,
the $10,000 that was donated for that, and my vote is, that's fine. But the other it's another 6,000 on top of what we've already done. So that's why I asked about another fundraiser or two.
it is just, I mean, I love a good Julian pianos, but it's a hard time of year to do a fundraiser because everyone's so busy, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're pretty creative. I could ask the board, but I don't know about that. Yeah.
The amount of investment that's already gone into it, I would hate for something this small, though, $6,000, to affect the overall durability of what we will have. Maybe not the best words to choose, but sorry. Everyone's not busy.
I have a question about that fence. If you're gonna have to pay 2 trip charges anyway, can you get another estimate from somebody else? That might be less.
Nobody, from what I've gathered, wants to do fences. I even asked Jake Harrison, and he's really busy. He's really helping us out. And from what I've heard, that Century Fence is where we got the bid, and that's kind of, unless somebody else knows somebody they could,
They're kind of the contractor.
they're basically the people that do it, yeah. So the guy I'm talking to, he has worked in the area too, so, yeah.
And what about doing a fundraiser, maybe geared more towards a pickleball as opposed to splash pad? Sure. That's a different generational thing, kind of.
Mhm.
Just without.
Sounds like they're volunteering to spearhead.
Volunteer Julie. She has nothing else.
So it be doing.
We are in the line of fire.
Right, that's right. Yeah, I have got it.
Get in the middle of it.
On the splash pad side, we'll definitely look into something. But I just don't know if we can pull something off.
Well, can you just get us for sure, like, the numbers in regards to, like, how much it would save if we did both fences at the same time? Because I think that's really going to, like, I mean, if it's going to save us over $1,000, and like, I mean, that in and of itself would start negating the 6,000. If, you know, depending upon how much it costs for the two.
I can't imagine it would be the 6,000, but
Mhm.
yeah, if it was
But
more like a
Even 1,000 is a great number.
And we know we're what to do anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just curious, where are they from? Central ones.
So they have spots all over. I can't remember, Forest Lake is the one I called
Yeah.
maybe. I was tracking them down when he called me back, yeah, Forest Lake. He didn't even know when he picked up when I came to my phone. Yeah, yeah, so, yeah, and they did, like, they were the ones in lock now when she tries to.
Can we find that out then, maybe let Tracy know, and she can send us an email.
Yeah.
You know, we have to do it. We don't want that forward, so.
This is so pretty, yeah, so, yeah. Mhm. Okay, I think that's all I have. Oh, yeah, thank you guys.
Come back.
Come back. Okay, all right,
You want this one?
that's,
I got a bunch of scratch on it.
that's okay. All right.
It's on your file, I sent you.
You just screenshot.
No, I sent you the actual file, just like I sent everyone else. Excel file, sorry.
All right, I will report back to Tracy then.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, moving on to Bollig Engineering update on task orders.
They just kind of sent an update, kind of saying where everything was that you guys had all gotten, I'm sure you were able to read. The only additional thing that I would like to add to that is the congressionally directed spending requests that they had put in. We did finally hear back from both Klobuchar and Senator Smith's office, and neither one of them chose either project to move forward. So it's just Fishbach with the fire hall project that has been selected so far. But we have a long ways to go before that we actually know.
Now we're just waiting on other projects to see if they make the list and how many points or whatever, budget priority list.
Yeah, whether or not it gets put on to,
In the storm sewer project, is that started yet?
that
I can speak to that.
I can say I heard, but I don't wanna speak for.
The new storm sewer project under Bollig, they delivered their first load of gravel on Cherry Avenue or Pit Run. That's what they use to bed the pipe with. They'll be hauling materials in this week, and they're not scheduled to start digging until the following week. So they're just staging this week.
Any additional questions, comments, concerns on the update to the council? All right, moving on. Discussion on ordinance 228. Possible amendment to the zoning ordinance 153. So we tasked Tracy with wordsmithing and just kind of looking at what it might look like. if the council chose to amend the current ordinance.
Should we, I was just gonna ask.
Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. Who was here?
First one up here.
Whichever you choose. Whichever you choose. If you could just state your name and then.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Amanda Elfring, and I own Creative Stitches, on Main Street, who used to be Karen's Creative Quilting. We've been there for almost 8 years, and she was there for 15 years before us. I honestly didn't think this was still an issue, because I thought you guys already decided that there was gonna be no allowing, our residents in our commercial storefronts, until I saw the board meeting from last month, and I will say I was not happy when I saw the board meeting. Things I found out since then, first of all, Kathy Ludowies wanted to be here, but she couldn't start out her softball game. Her and I have been in communication. She checked with the realtor never once told them that they could use that as a residence. And I know that's hearsay coming from me. She also said that she has reported that they're living there, to the city and to the police, and they told her that we needed proof. He sat here and I believe he said it 7 or 8 times that is their primary residence. So I think that's the proof you guys need. He admitted that you guys told him no and he went ahead anyways. They also, and I know it's a thing, but if you're in the store next to theirs, which is Gathering Friends now, at certain times of day, you can smell marijuana being smoked next door or burned. You can smell their bacon grease. I checked with the city, they have not pulled any permits, but there has been continuous work going on inside with lumber and saws and people up on the roof and interior stuff going on, that they never got permits for. And, it looks like a junkyard in the back. I get that they have plants, but old fridges, we see them out there drinking by their little patio that they've set up with their chairs. They've had bonfires, they've had smokers out there, they've had people parked in Gathering Friends' back parking area. We have video and photos of that. They are a nuisance, plain and simple. I do not believe that we should allow anyone to live on the main floor of a building. I understand that. I believe the ordinance now says that if you have a second floor, you can live on that. They knew when they purchased the building that it was zoned for commercial. They have tried to, Xcel Energy visited Gathering Friends and Kathy Ludowies one day asking how to get in touch with the neighbors because they had asked them to switch their bill over to residential instead of commercial. And she told them that they did not have permission to do that because the board did not allow them to turn that into a residential place. So I don't know why it's even being discussed that we amend this. Like, why? To me, I know it's an old law, like they said it was the 80s, I think, on the last meeting.
That's not that old.
I agree. But there's nothing, it's nothing that's out of date in my mind. It's not like, I was telling my husband on the way here, I said, it's not like referring to party lines and now we have technology that's new. It's not referring to anything that's old. We barely have any retail space on Main Street the way it is. We have businesses, we have like Saunders and we have Gleasoner, or it's not Gleasoner, but whatever that is, and Sheehan's and stuff. And the very few buildings we still have for retail, we need to keep them for retail. Because there's no other reason for people to come to town then. I mean, daycare, they have a daycare. I mean, because otherwise I visit Saunders maybe twice a year for my taxes. I don't visit Sheehan's, they auto pay. Like, so there's nowhere else where people are visiting, especially when we just lost a huge staple of a business in town. We need to preserve the buildings that we still have for retail. So. I'll let some others talk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Welcome.
I'm Terry Hines. I own the old Wives Tale. I've been there about 4 years now. I'm gonna say a lot of the same things that Amanda said, that we have limited retail space on Main Street, Bird Island. And my personal opinion, if we say, okay, we're gonna allow people to live in our commercial retail properties and make them a home, we've pretty much just said our town is dead and we don't want any new businesses in town. You know, I volunteer for other committees around town, and we put a lot of work into trying to, you know, bring people down into downtown, you know, spark excitement. But if there is nothing for them to do, places to go, because there isn't retail space available to put a business in, I mean, why are we doing this?
Right, thank you.
I'm Kelly Alfreen, I'm his husband. I'm just wondering, I know he said that he's been fixing up the building and stuff and doing the work inside. It sounds like himself, which on commercial property is not legal either. You need to have a contracted person doing it. You need certified electricians, plumbers, everything doing this work. I don't know if he's been screwing around with electricity, but that could possibly be fire hazards to the rest of the businesses on Main Street. If you get rid of the commercial oversight, you kind of have issues that might come to other businesses because of the lack of oversight in a residential area. And that's all I'm gonna say, besides everything that everyone else is gonna be saying.
To Kelly's point, I did talk to Darren, the building inspector, about the potential ordinance change. And he said that, you know, residential and commercial are two different building codes. And so if we do allow something on the main floor, there's gonna have to be a firewall built to separate them. That is not currently there in any of those buildings. And that firewall, depending on what the building or what the business is up front, is going to have different ratings, fire ratings. So would have to have different requirements of what kind of wall is put there.
So my name is Marsha, and my business is Peaceful Prairie Gifts, and I come from a little bit different perspective because I don't have a brick and mortar in town, but I am part of the CNC, and I would love to see downtown thrive with retail spaces. If given the opportunity, I would buy a building if it fit my needs. And I totally agree with what Amanda and Terry and Kelly have all said. It's really just sad to see the last meeting that I watched online. I get very emotional about it, but so I have a little bit different perspective.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
I'll save my piece. Don't tell Ann.
Deanna?
Hi, everybody knows me as Deanna and Harvard Ann, whatever you want to say. So for us, after we had our fire, I looked around our community to see what I would have available for us to potentially relocate temporarily until our business was up and running. There is nothing. If those buildings had been available and vacant, we could have potentially still be open and operating. A little bit of a downside until our building gets up and going. As of right now, we have no clue when we'll be up and running. There is no dates, no nothing. But without the potential of storefronts in town to be utilized either temporarily or permanently, you guys are potentially taking those storefronts away from potential businesses in town. I would have loved to be able to be up and running right now, but I have no place to go to. So with that building being occupied as a home, you have then potentially taken away, I'm gonna say my livelihood, because I have no business to go, no building to go to. So that's my piece.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you want to share with us what you told me?
Anyone else would like to speak?
Can I speak?
Absolutely.
So I don't know if maybe I was the one that maybe, if everybody's disappointed in me, I guess that for clarity, and you maybe heard me tonight, I wanted to clarify, we have not made a decision to change the ordinance, just to talk about it and look into it. My concern, if we, and I am 100%, I'm 99% with you, but to save buildings for an ordinance from, 1982, are we saving it for what? We're probably gonna lose two families if we vacate them. These people across the street, Cody, and I can't say his last name, I don't remember it, have maybe lived there supposedly for 9 years. Tony Ferncase supposedly lived there 9 years before that, unbeknownst to me. I've been, of course, been on the council that long, but I don't think any of us knew that. So I was really surprised. Mr. Dobmeyer sat here and admitted 100% that, he applied, we turned him down, he moved in. 100% in the wrong. So I think, my comments at our last meeting were maybe just to consider changing, not to give up the storefront, have it go back a certain footage into the building so that we preserve the front area, not that it could ever be lived in. Just as a suggestion. And I'm not saying we should do it or not do it, but, so I don't know if I'm the person that you all feel is wrong, but that was my concern, is that we're gonna maybe lose potentially two families. We're well within our means to uphold the ordinance as it is, 100%. And we do know how Kathy feels, Louise feels, she's made that very clear to us and appreciate that.
I have her written communication as
Yeah.
well. so.
And that she made no representation when the building was sold that they could, so I'm very clear on that. I'll speak for myself.
But as you guys have known, you have known since he moved, he came
Who's he?
here, the guy at the close area.
That guy, or
Dolmeyer.
Dotmeyer, Steve?
You guys have known he's been there. What can,
No,
We,
I didn't know he was.
I think everybody thinks that the council knows a lot of stuff. Again, I'll speak for myself. I think he's living there. I don't know I've never been in there to see a bed or anything, but
her hair sticking up in the air.
Okay.
No. Just because I went knocked on the door and asked her like a year ago.
I think it's been he told
He
us.
admitted there's a maintenance.
Yeah, so until that point, I mean,
Is there what can you do to get them out, I guess is what I'm.
What are your options? Because they've admitted they've kind of broken our law ordinance or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so what options are there for the board? And honestly, I know that we're a small town, so I don't understand how the board doesn't know what's going on in its own city. Council, shouldn't we all know? I mean, I was gonna say,
but you don't have to.
People move in and out of town all the time.
yeah,
There are a
well,
lot of
this one's
rental
this
properties.
one's
I have no
huge
idea who's
eyesore.
moving in and who's
I
out.
mean, they park their motorcycles and both their vehicles there and there's snow on top of them and nothing under, that they're there 24/7. I mean, to me,
I can't tell you the last time I've driven back behind there.
You don't have
I
to
go
drive
to
on the
the
highway
grocery
to see it.
store.
I mean, it's an eyesore. I just wanna know, what are your options then, knowing he broke the ordinance? Like, I've asked Tracy and Tracy wasn't clear. I said, because as a business, I know that I could be inspected and that's fine. I'd let them walk in and say inspect it, make sure I'm up to code on everything. So it's almost like a warrant. Can you go in and inspect and see all the work they've done that they've done illegally and
No.
there's nothing? So what's the point of ordinances if you guys can't enforce them?
so if you think about 1060 Highway Avenue, that took us 4 or 5 years to get rid of that house.
Yeah,
And I gotta watch how I speak about it,
Yep.
but we spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and law enforcement, and we couldn't finally, after 4 or 5 years,
And we stand.
Okay, what about the marijuana being that close to a daycare?
Public nuisance, like you walk.
And it's in a commercial site, like, they don't have a
Well,
license to sell it.
Marijuana is legal.
But they
so-
don't have a license to sell it, or they don't have, and their residence, and it's a commercial
We don't
building,
know
it's
that
not a
they're selling
residence.
it.
Well, but even if they're not selling it, I can't have marijuana right next to there's like so many feet within a feet of a school or a daycare that you can have any kind of drug.
I don't know.
Well, I-
And so, and it's a commercial building, so like legally you can have it in your residence, but you can't have it in commercial buildings if you don't have a permit to sell it. And it's a commercial building.
Technically it is.
It is
Yeah,
true,
I-
I was inspected twice by the health inspector, the cannabis inspector.
I think,
So I
Tracy,
think it's a law enforcement thing, but I think we need to, everybody is like, our hands are tied, like law enforcement, investigators, who can untie them? And I
You're
think
gonna
it,
have to want to make the change. That's what, the board is gonna have to want to make the change. Otherwise, nothing will change.
well, the council, 2 months ago or 3 months ago, sent a letter to the people. The due date was coming due, that's why Mr. Dobmeyer was here. Cody was here with his, with Rhonda, I think is her name, at the council meeting. The mayor and I met with Cody and Rhonda separately in this room. And we didn't get anywhere, with our conversation, I don't believe. And then Mr. Dobmeyer came to the last meeting, so I think we can certainly stay to the ordinance as it is. We sent a letter to give them a reprieve until we could discuss it. So I think, appreciate everybody's comments tonight, because I think it's important that we know the support or lack of support for the change. And, again, I'm speaking for myself, not for the council.
I think if the council decides to keep the ordinance as is, then it's a law enforcement issue and we'll have to get the sheriff involved and our attorney. We have to follow whatever legal steps there are to do it the correct way.
This
There's
came
no-
about simply, we sat down, we brainstormed on what the options, what are the possible options on how to resolve this? And I will tell you that the main ones were, number one, they have to move. It doesn't follow the commercial zoning ordinance and they have to move. The second one was, do we amend? And not just to appease them, but not only to keep people in town, but to try and retain our commercial area and our retail space. And that was the whole point of Neil's thought, making a storefront has to remain. If you live on the backside, the storefront has to remain, which honestly, in our eyes, that didn't seem like such a bad idea to talk further about, because what's the difference if the storefront is on the bottom and you're living upstairs? They're still living there. It's almost the same space. So was just topics of discussion. We're like, what are the options? How can we make things
I
work?
think knowing that a
So-
firewall has to be, a wall has to be put into, makes it a whole different. They're not gonna wanna do that. Nobody's
And
gonna
I-
wanna do that.
I think once the people that are living there currently find out, since there were no building permits ever requested or approved, I highly doubt that there was ever an inspection done, so there was never a certificate of occupancy that was granted. So that might be an issue in and of itself. The building inspector would say, this doesn't meet code, you can't live here.
And he can't get in there though unless he's let in there.
Yeah.
So then you have to go to court to get
Yeah.
a warrant to be able to get in the
Yes,
building.
I've had people tell me that he's working there, and I've had numerous conversations with Darren, and Darren has shown up when contractors have been there and tried to, so he's aware of the situation, at least over by the quilt shop, and is trying to give him, and so he did finally come in and fill out a building permit, but he's missing a whole lot of information, said he was going to be doing the work himself. And the permit has never been approved, and I don't believe him or Derek have come to terms with it either.
Was Darren ever in the building?
No, when he was there, he, tried to look around, but he was right there at the door, like not willing to let him in from my understanding.
Well, I think with Mr. Dobmeyer's open admittedness, he's living there. So that probably, I don't know if if Darren has to get inside to see that, he told us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think to me, that's,
And I've had other people come into the office asking if there's any, space, commercial space, because they're looking for whether it be retail, not necessarily retail, but mostly office space, too. And so I try to always keep that.
I think another that must be added to the list is the old dry cleaners, because I know that has been converted into an apartment. It was always living space in the back of it. That's probably at least for 50 years. But I know I think it's a relative that is coming in.
I'm not familiar with the ordinance, I just know, I think the one that you guys thought about amending, that just said Main Street facing. Is the ordinance for any commercial, right? You
I
can't
think
do
it's
that
all
in town?
commercial zoned, isn't it?
Oh,
It's the B1s,
It's the B1 commercial district.
so the orange.
okay.
I personally am not in favor of changing the ordinance. I think we need to do whatever we need to do to enforce it.
Can I say one more thing? So, I'm not 100% familiar with how all the properties were built, but I do know like some Main Street properties in other towns were built with retail, and then living space on the side, and then part of the back of the living space or the Main Street or bottom floor was living space, and that might be the case for, like maybe we need to ask for original floor plans and grandfather certain buildings in. I mean, I don't know, that might be too complicated, just a thought.
Are you
For
thinking
the
of the
cleaners.
Ferncase building?
I am, yeah.
The Ferncase building was always 100% commercial. I'm a
Oh,
Ferncase.
sorry.
So-
I thought it was different.
There's apartments above,
Sorry.
there's actually 2 separate apartments above. Like when you go up the stairs, there's 2 doors because, I don't.
In all honesty, that is truly where I thought they were
Yeah.
living.
Well,
See,
so,
I was never,
no,
even when Tony was living there, I did not know
So
he was
Tony
living
had
on the main floor.
converted, Penny was still in front, and so there was still space, she was still cutting hair up front, and he converted the back, which he called the warehouse, into a living space. And at the time, I didn't own a business in town, I didn't know that that was not legal. But the apartments upstairs, they're still up there, but I don't know what condition they're in.
There's no electricity up there.
Okay,
He gave me a tour of it.
oh,
so Tony lived behind Penny Herming's,
yes,
You
she's,
bought-
yep,
Guys and
she's,
Dolls or whatever.
yeah,
It was for Case Plumbing and Heating. They ran a business out of there for many, many years.
yeah, Grandpa did.
And Joe pulled the permit to add that little shed to the back when it was a business still.
And that shed area is where Tony, that was his main living space.
Yeah, Neil, that was the old Bartlett store,
The who?
the old Bartlett store.
Thank you.
Now,
I'm not-
I just wanted, bring your kids up to date.
Too far back for me, so.
I don't think you need to also look at it as potentially losing 2 families, because there are other places in town that they can live. But you're losing the opportunity for 2 businesses if they remain.
And in their defense, they've both claimed that it is their plan to open a business.
I believe though, when he was talking about, I don't know if that's his partner, it was an online business she was doing, so she would have no use for a storefront anyways. There would be no storefront.
And initially, that was the proposal they brought to the council, was that they wanted to run an online business out of there.
You did that over bottles.
And that was part of, we didn't want it just turned into a warehouse.
Okay.
Thank you
Other
very much.
thoughts?
Thank you for listening.
Thank you. No, thanks for all the input.
Thanks for your opinion.
Well, we had tasked Tracy with just wordsmithing to see what it might look like. Not knowing what all the different building codes would be to maintain at the front of the building versus the code for the residential in the back and a firewall. Regardless, that would be on the owner of the building to decide whether they're going to invest that kind of dollars in it. Council's decision is whether we want to consider or continue the discussion on possible amendment, or whether we want to just enforce what we currently have. What is that?
Did Darren provide you something in writing, Tracy?
About the firewall
About the
or-
firewall and stuff?
No, that was just a
Just
conversation.
conversation.
That the commercial is like a B whatever grade and residential is an R grade, so there's two different building code things. And so, even like to have the residents upstairs, there has to be a firewall, just like to have in between your garage and your house. There's different standards.
After what did Cody say? If you turn it into a bed and breakfast, it's basically all other than a front desk at the front. I'm guessing the code, the building code would be different as well. Because there would be no major separation between the commercial side and the residential side.
You'd still want firewalls, I'm sure it's all be commercial at that point, because you're gonna want something separate in between each location. Which you don't know what your neighbor's going to be doing, kind of like apartment buildings.
Sure. Thoughts from the council?
Well, I'll say I'm not happy that Mr. Dobmeyer did what he did. If we were going to change it, I would say that we should fine him. And because he 100% went against the variance request. These people over here, I feel a little bit bad for them because suppose if they've been living there for 9 years, shame on me for not knowing that they've been living there. But there's several people in town I don't probably know. I think I know just about everybody, but I didn't even know him until he came to the council meeting, so, it's very obvious that the people on Main Street are opposed to change. And I guess I really haven't heard any reason strong, I was trying to come up with an idea to see if we could make it work for both people, but, or both
Part of that
the
discussion
business
as well
and the res.
was, do we make the amendment and retain commercial space in the front, allow residential in the back? Or do we risk having empty buildings that just become dilapidated and they sit empty and no one's taking care of them, and now they're an eyesore as well? Because there's never a guarantee of when and if you're going to get new businesses in there. Small towns are struggling everywhere to maintain their retail and their main streets. That was just part of the discussion on whether we should even consider amending the current ordinance. So. Shadow managing.
I do know that Birch Wind or White Birch Wind, whatever the name of it
It
is,
is.
they wanted to relocate to Rhode Island versus Hector, so they'd be more centrally located, even though it's only 7 miles or whatever it is. But there is no location in Rhode Island for them to come to.
We did speak with them, did we not? I thought we did,
Different-
when they were asking about potential.
They've been
Places.
contacting us and, yeah, we tried to get them in contact, but they want main level. They don't want to, because a lot of their clientele are elderly, And so they've been in here asking. And I know even way back when Big Iron first took over, they were asking if there was any office space in Main Street of Bird Island, because they were always upstairs, but they wanted Main Street. And I think that's kind of what led them to kind of putting that mobile office out there initially.
Deb, you think we should just leave it the way it is?
That's my opinion, I'm one person. I just think there's a lot of this stuff that came up now today that really, I mean, I was kind of leery initially, but it's gonna be a junkyard, there's gonna be junkyards right there, and it's just not acceptable for Main Street, you know?
Yeah, I'm with Deb on that. I've seen it in other small towns, people moving downtown, I don't want to.
Well, it's,
I mean, I like the fact that he's keeping the building up, he's putting work into it, but like Kelly, what he said,
I mean,
I'll be honest, I don't have a strong opinion either way. I want to see our Main Street thrive. And I would agree, it's difficult to attract new businesses when now you've got it, you know, half residential. And once we change it, there's nothing to say that more won't follow suit. So I think we'll also have a big job ahead of us to enforce the current, because we cannot pick and choose who's allowed. I would say the only ones that would be grandfathered in were the ones that were already there prior to 1982. And anything that's happened since then has to be addressed. So we literally have to take an account of every commercial space to ensure that.
would we consult then next with the sheriff, do you think, his office, or the attorney? We sent out the letters, what would be the next step?
When the original letters went out to the residents, I sent them to the attorney because we had questions for them way back then. And they're more or less wanting to know what the council wants to do. So I think they're kind of already know that may come in.
The attorney's office wants to know?
Yeah,
Or
or
law enforcement wants to
the
know?
attorney's office, you know, it's kind of up to the council if they want to
Enforce it.
go move forward with enforcing it. If that's the case, then we'll have to go get the attorneys involved and then start finding them and move.
I will say, if the council decides to stick with the current ordinance, we cannot demand the 30 days. You can't expect people to find alternate living in 30 days time. So that needs to be something to be worked out as well. Nor do I want to give them an unlimited amount of time, because I don't think anything would happen.
So what kind of a motion, if we want to leave our ordinance as it is and not change it, what kind of a motion do you want for that?
You don't need a motion.
Don't need-
Just enforce what we have.
Okay, just enforce what we have.
I would say just, if we need to send out a letter to move forward, give them the new timeframe.
what would be the new time frame?
I don't know, that's.
I would check with our attorney and see what a sufficient amount of time would be.
So at our last meeting, we approved an extension, right, so that we could talk about it. We're talking about it,
An extension of their 30 days.
of their 30 days, right? So I don't know what that said, but if we've talked about it,
So now it would be a new letter telling them of their, like that it's
That the council
their
wants
term,
to-
that they have to terminate their residence.
Yep.
And vacate the premises
by
by
how many days or.
90 days.
I would
by
ask the
6
attorney
months,
what
by-
they feel is a sufficient amount of time to relocate.
Mhm.
essentially it's an eviction notice. But I will admit, I do feel bad that if they've been living there for 9 years, and it was just brought to our attention now.
Yeah,
that-
well, it's gonna be a 1060 fight, But-
And
sorry.
going back in all the letters that were given to him, it was 30-day notice. From what I've read, any letter of.
For 260.
I have one more comment too. I'm not sure with businesses what kind of insurance you have to have, but you suppose they have insurance there? Because if not, they're really endangering their next door neighbors with a fire hazard. I mean, either way, they're endangering because.
Well, whether they're insured or not, it doesn't change a fire hazard.
Right, but it's still another angle. What is your insurance? You're a commercial building in our community. Do you not have to have insurance?
Not a requirement from the city,
It's not a city's requirement.
no.
Or a mortgage lender.
So I think we need some kind of a motion to proceed to follow through with our ordinance. I don't know exactly how to word, I will trying to think of how to word it.
Follow.
Because we've given them an extension of time so we could discuss it. We've discussed it.
Yep.
Now we need a motion to proceed with them relocating, vacating the the building. And that would go for everybody, like you said. Anybody that is in B1 that is applicable to, we get that letter. I hope none of you are on that.
What was that?
Colossal fail. But no, I think there's a lot of good information tonight that we didn't have. And I think I'm supportive of starting the action again to follow through with enforce our ordinance number 228. However you think that should be worded, Mayor, I'll move the motion.
So you want me to word your motion for you?
Well, I'm just trying to think of how to, so that we don't have to amend it and amend it and amend it. I would say whoever is,
Thank you for the work, Tracy, that you put into the wordsmithing. I'm sorry. It's actually hard when I read through it. It's hard to envision it like that, to be honest. So.
And I don't know how you, I mean, we're just enforcing the ordinance, so, I'm not sure.
motion to enforce, okay, but we gave them we gave them an extension of time, so now, I'm just thinking now that we've talked about it, so now we're
With
motion to be to
recommendations from
enforce
our attorney on how to proceed.
and from the building inspector, the information just on how to proceed on how to enforce ordinance 228.
I would- So if I were, this is just trying to help. Don't take my motion, because I can't make a motion. But I would say to enforce the ordinance as is with a 60, 90-day time period, or whatever the attorney says if it's different, whichever one is. So that way there's something. It's just an idea.
They've already got 60. don't they?
They've already had April 1st. They've already had 60 days.
But we've got to give it to them from now.
No, because, yeah.
Get the
By time
draft the letter.
letters go out, yeah.
I would not extend it into the cold season. I would make sure that it is enforceable. Well, I was thinking 30 days.
I was thinking 90 days, but recommendation on the, the attorney
90
thinks.
days of recommendation by attorney. And I can tell the attorney what your guys' idea was, if he would concur with that, or if he would think that it should be a different time of moment. What's your motion? I would like you to repeat the motion, so I make sure.
Motion to enforce ordinance number 228. Or is it
No,
Or is it
No,
153?
153.
And then section 11,
Article 11. Section, or just zoning ordinance for business, commercial, just business district.
motion to enforce our current ordinance that is in place regarding,
Zoning ordinance 153.
okay.
I don't want to put words in your mouth. It's your motion.
Neither do I.
Nope, I'll second that.
He's got to finish it first.
I know.
Motion to enforce our building ordinance,
Zoning ordinance.
zoning ordinance in cycle. And it's section 11.01. Uses permitted. Is that fair?
Ordinance 153.
Ordinance 153. And to, for administrator to talk with the attorney in regard to how many days to allow the people to vacate. Our recommendation is 90 days, no more than.
There's a motion on the table.
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion?
I have a question. Those apartments are sitting across from Rumors, aren't they in the B section? How are they?
We questioned that. I'm not sure how that was ever granted to be. I don't recall it ever being, I mean, I'm born and raised here. I don't recall it ever being business along that side.
Just
It
normal
was
body shop.
Norm
barber shop.
You had a barber shop, and then to the west of that, you had an accountant. And to the west of that, you had an egg receiving company for chicken eggs.
What year was that?
Well, it was in the 50s, early 60s, for your young children. again.
So that was prior to 82.
Yeah, I was on the board when the 82 was enforced. or forward.
So do you recall if they were already apartments?
No, they were not apartments then. The barber shop was still active way after that. And then the accountant, like a lot of people who died. And then, when.
That happens.
Yeah, it happens to a lot of people. And they had, when Wenzel bought the building, that's when he started moving that, because where the Legion Club is right now, that used to be the O'Malley Schmelch clothing store, and then after that, it was the laundromat, and, I don't know the history.
But the reality is, nobody, I mean, how do we know he didn't come in here and ask for a variance and got it approved? We don't know what happened, I mean, none of us know what
We
happened
don't
with that.
have records that far back that would say, I'm like that, I'm just saying, what we do for one has to,
But if
we
we
can't
just-
pick and choose who we're going to enforce it and who we're not. So how are we going to proceed with that? Because that will be an issue.
Because in reality, then your commercial area there is not correct then.
Main Street's B1, side streets are B2.
It's still considered commercial, but you
Still-
still got apartments in there.
Yes.
Ordinance for B?
I don't know,
Main Street is B1.
Main Street's B1.
But then,
Side streets are
it's a multi-family complex. It's an apartment, just like the other apartments are.
Yeah.
So you got,
I know,
so when you can't go back and just say you can't. The apartments that have been there forever. That was approved, I mean, they were approved, they had to have been.
We had apartments above all the buildings, not all of them, the greater portion of them. You had the variety store, you had the gamble store.
Above,
Above
not on the
them,
main,
Above them, the
not on the main.
quilt shop had apartments of them. Sheehan's had apartments of them. Well, you got Leisters, that's right on Main Street with apartments above them. And there was apartments below them as well. There was 2 apartments below them at one time. The one that was below it when you first went in, the post office was to the south, and the furniture store was to the right. You went downstairs and there was a beauty parlor, but prior to that, there was 2 apartments down there. There was apartment at the hotel, where there was apartments in the basement of the hotel.
I don't know, that's why I'm,
Dennis was on both sides
As far as we
upstairs.
know, there's the 2 buildings that are in compliance. That's as far as we know. We can't, I mean, you can't expect Tracy to try to find something that happened 40 years ago. I mean, we don't know. And there's apartments. I mean, there's the Wenzel, whatever, those are, they're still there. That got approved somehow. I mean.
The ones south of the post office you're talking
The
about?
white, who owns them now? Could
Behind the Legion is what you're referring to, yeah.
I'm just saying it will, guaranteed it will be
Then
an
it'll come up,
issue.
then we'll deal with it. I mean, you can't just, what are we gonna do? I mean, can't spend every minute trying to figure out who was where when. I mean, pretty soon Paul's not gonna be here anymore, then, you know.
He lives forever. He don't know.
So in this motion then, who are we,
Same
Who are
two
we
that got the
sending?
initial letters.
are we gonna send it to anyone else? Laundromat people? That was brought up earlier,
Lives there,
correctly?
lives there.
Um,
They don't live there, I mean.
Yeah.
He does live there.
He lives
So he
where,
moved in there. It was a relative, of,
nobody's coming in to tell me
They're
that,
not.
we don't know, so we don't know. I mean,
and I only know because they questioned at some, is there a different address? Did they request a different address for that?
we don't know.
For the north part, the old dry cleaners versus, or maybe it had a separate address because it was a dry cleaners and it was living behind there, so maybe it had its own separate address. Well, I know it's in 2 apartments and. There is a motion and a second on the table to move forward with enforcement of the current city ordinance. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Thank you all for your input. Ballpark Complex Joint Powers Agreement.
With the city taking over the, ownership of the JV field from the school, some things in the ballpark complex joint powers agreement have to be obviously adjusted. So this is just my first rough draft go on it. I more or less tried to change where it said the school to the city for the most part. There was one item that was in there that is no longer applicable because the school doesn't actually own anything. I think that was to drink alcohol on the, school property.
But there's still, well, it's their own rules to not have alcohol when they have their own meals.
Right. So that one would actually be part of the joint powers. I did add number 12 to the joint powers agreement, comparing to the original agreement. And then also on the baseball field etiquette, rules of etiquette, I added number 7 to that, based on complaints that have come to the city from after games that go late night.
So is the purchase, do we ever do a purchase
We
agreement?
didn't do a purchase agreement, we did a memorandum of understanding.
So this,
So if
If
that
it gets changed.
gets changed, then this is, the potential changes. So this is kind of the first go rough draft. If the city would like to see
So
any
the-
other changes.
The mowing gets done by the Bow Baseball Association, right?
Yep, and that is put into the contract that gets signed every year by,
Didn't the city just recently up that amount? Because, I don't know, I wasn't talking about.
a year or two ago.
Okay.
They upped it for the school and then they asked for the city to up it that same amount.
Was it for doing more mowing, or do you remember?
It would, for the schools, they were taking over doing mowing for the school. I don't recall exactly
Okay.
why they thought that
Why
the
the
city
city
should.
should, that was part of the,
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have an arrangement with them on renting the cities more that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of.
I believe they have the lawnmower, the baseball.
Yes, but that, they claim that is just for the infield of the big field.
They have two now.
Oh, okay.
So number 7, if we could have the word, the letter D on weed, mowing, trimming and weed. And then also, I was just wondering if that's, maybe the question that came up the other day that I sent you a message on about the comfort station. I'm wondering if they felt, because that was in the old agreement, that Bold was paying for that. And maybe that's why they thought that there should be one there. I don't know, but I guess I would like to incorporate so that it doesn't become a point of contention, that we provide one, I think it said that there would be something adjacent to the school will pay for the same, including a portable toilet if needed on school-owned property.
Yes, that was also before we just paid all the money for this bathrooms over at the splash
Now we
pad.
have a bathroom.
Yeah.
it with the bathrooms at the splash
It
pad?
shouldn't be.
I'm being told, well, first, they weren't open the other day, but they're 4-year-old to 14-year-old kids that sometimes need to get to a restroom quicker than going around a fence or 2 or 3. So what, is it the cost that we don't want to do it? Is that why you're thinking we don't want to do it, or?
I thought it was because we don't have a bathroom.
we
there.
yeah.
Is that bathroom open, gonna be open all the time?
It will be once everything is done, and the intent was to have it open sooner, but they had some issues come up with construction and everything, but it'll hopefully be open, cross our fingers, for the weekend. I don't know, but there were a few things that we're hoping that needed to be fixed, and so they're trying to get it open hopefully before the pickleball tournament this weekend, but, yeah.
I don't know, I
And do we think that is close enough to the ball fields to be utilized well? What is the cost of a comfort station?
I was wondering what we were talking about. A comfort station.
a portable toilet.
Porta
Portable toilet. That's my refined that's coming out, that it's a comfort station.
Didn't realize.
You didn't know I could do it?
No.
Okay, good. I think I heard it was $150 a month.
I
don't think it was a question about money. I think it was really that we thought that was available.
We just
so.
paid, well, it's built and we're paying someone to take care of actual bathrooms now.
Do you think we have to put up signage saying bathroom here?
I don't know, I'm just one, I got
But-
my ear full the other day from a
If
couple
we need- if
people,
they-
so
we
I
need
just
to have
wanted
it.
to bring it up, so I.
We need to have it there in
In
the meantime
that's-
until it gets
yeah.
done, but knowing that this should be plenty sufficient, much nicer in fact, than a
Yes.
comfort station.
And I was trying to get everything in, so that way they could be open right away at the beginning of the season, but then they ended up with other issues that they weren't able to get up and running right away.
Well, I think Jim Flan and Merlin both thought that there needed to be one there, so that's why I sent that message. So if you think we're gonna get by with the splash pad, then we can try that, and I guess if it's,
Well,
That's what
we'll hear if it's not sufficient.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
we can always put it back.
Okay,
Are you looking for action on the joint powers agreement? Or is
No,
it
not
just for
necessarily just
discussion at
for
this time?
discussion at this time, if, the council would like anything changed or not, or, and then we could, when the time comes to actually approve it, once the properties have changed, I would potentially like to send it to the other parties to get their input. There's just kind of starting that discussion.
I can ask one more question. So if there's a ball tournament in town, those splash pad bathrooms are gonna be open at 10 o'clock at night? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, and they're gonna be lit so that people can get over there and not trip or,
I'm hoping to get, programmable locks on them,
Time blocks.
time blocks.
Time blocks.
So that way they can, we don't actually have to have somebody go in and open and close them each night. But
but if there's a tournament in town, it could run a little later than whatever time. So I'm just trying to, in case they ask me, then I'll be able to.
There
Yep.
isn't there the one, but there still is the one that's by the big grandstand, right?
and the
Yes.
bathroom.
Okay.
We're talking about
Oh,
down,
Yeah.
the one I'm talking about is down to the south.
Yep.
so,
JV.
The
JV field.
Yeah.
So
Don't they
In-
already
Okay.
have an outhouse out there?
today they do.
The Lions paid for that.
Well, they've had it earlier in the season too, like when JV games were going on.
Oh.
There was one, I just,
Okay. All right. I will let them know. Thank you.
Yeah, that's just sort of-
Any other thoughts on the joint powers agreement? If not, we'll move on to cemetery mowing.
is this a weed thing about the weeds, or what is this?
That also, yes. So the dandelions are one thing, and the other thing that I went out there, someone suggested I should go out there to take a look at it, and I did, and there's a lot of dead leaves underneath the evergreen trees, there's branches, there are, I took a picture of this, I think that's a marker, somebody's marker that is near covered up with dirt, and I don't know exactly how to take care of everything, you know, Paul Setzfont, we talked about this a little bit, and the only way to get rid of the dandelion, right, is a spring and fall application, and we gotta get on that. I talked with Dave a little bit last night about this, and I think we just have to somehow get, I'm comparing that cemetery to the one in St. Mary's, and it's probably very unfair to do that because they have maybe a half dozen volunteers out at St. Mary's that, do a really nice job of keeping that up. So I don't know what the answer is. I don't know for sure, but, and maybe so I guess I'd just like to talk about that, maybe talk about the lots that the city owns, the spray program, maybe if we can get on that this fall and stay on it and do. I think what Paul said was we have to do it in the spring and the fall if we're gonna try to get ahead of those weeds.
Would you like me to comment on this?
If you'd like to.
Well, first of all, I came into the office today because I was looking out at the cemetery and I saw that it was on the agenda. So I thought, well, I might as well come and see what's happening here. I don't know, coming from a retired agricultural chemical salesperson, the ideal thing is to see dead weeds, right? the dandelions are really a pet peeve for me. I don't like them. I don't like a lot of other weeds that we have. It was suggested that I looked at all the parks. So I did. I went and looked at all the parks. I spent about 2 hours Saturday afternoon looking at the parks that we have in town. And I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. I don't want to take anything away from the maintenance guys. There's only 2 of them. But I'm thinking now that since we have John on board, it's not gonna be like extra people, and that I think maybe Dusty could do a little bit better job trying to control weeds, especially the dandelions. A lot of you probably don't realize it, but the dandelion is actually a perennial weed. The longevity isn't many years, but it's a lot of years. A dandelion left all by itself can produce up to 20,000 seeds a year. Now, if you add that to all the other dandelions that are out there, we could have a lot of dandelions. And you're not gonna be able to come in and control all those dandelions in 1 year. It's gonna take another process. When Jim Schneider was spraying it, he had a pretty good program. He and I had a pretty good program on what to spray in the thistle and things like that throughout the community. And he did a real good job. But once you get behind, it's very hard to get caught back up without persistence. And I know that, like right now, I was out at the cemetery and we got yellow again. This is the second generation of yellow this year. We could have 4 or 5 generations this year, which could be a lot of dandelions if we don't start trying to control them. I moved into a house that had no control in it, and I spent probably 3 or 4 days popping them. I gained about 15 gallons worth of dandelions, the large ones, because I knew that they would seed. If you kill a dandelion that's yellow, it'll still produce a viable seed. So you gotta take them out and get rid of them. So I dug them out and got rid of them, and I sprayed my lawn. And I'm going to have to spray it again, plus I'm gonna have to spray it again in the fall. I'm not advocating that you gotta go out there and nail the hell out of it with a lot of chemical. I think at the proper time, you can kill a lot of dandelions, so. Anyway, get that off my plate, and we'll start talking about all the other parks. We've got a lot of parks in Burn Island. And the first one I went to was the Lions Park. We got a whole bunch of thistle along the north side of that road that needs to be killed. It can still be killed because they're not even close to the bud stage, and that's the best time to kill them. However, there's a lot of little ones and there's a lot of big ones. You can kill a lot of those weeds, but it's gonna take another shot to get them all out of there. As there is over in your garden facility, they've got a lot of thistle in the garden. You've got your, the ice skating rink. It's got a lot of small yellow wood sorrel in there, a little bit of knotweed in there. I don't think that it is anything really serious that needs to be attended to right now. It's gonna be covered with water and ice, soon enough anyway. And the wood sorrel isn't a noxious weed by any means. The knotweed is really a pain.
Did you pull any when you were out there?
You don't pull them.
Oh,
Those are,
I just thought since you were there, maybe.
no, well, don't. Oh,
Just kidding.
I would still be there. Okay, so then I went to the South Park that's out in Ranchwood. And the grass was really tall, the knotweed was real tall, the dandelions. If you take a dandelion and you put it into competition, sometimes you'll see a real long stem before you see the yellow flower. That's what you're seeing out there. So they're thriving, and they should really be attended to. I went to the North Park, the one, what is it, Sunrise, I think it is. There was a lot of sticks down there. There was a lot of taller grass there. There was a lot of dandelions like there is everywhere. I was looking around and I'm going, gee whiz, retired. Everybody's retired. Why don't we just get rid of the park? Well, while I was there, I had a lady come across wondering what the hell I was doing there. And I told her, and she says, well,
Neighborhood watch.
this one right here, it's got grandkids that come. This one here has got grandkids that come. This one here's got, if it was cleaned up a little bit better, I think that there would be a lot more kids there. So I had to eat my words and say, yeah, you're right. If it would be cleaned up, I think it could be a lot better. You know, and of course, you know, you got your ballpark down there. You've got the park that Gunner takes care of. I think he takes care of the major ballpark and he takes care of the South Park. I don't know if he's required to. And I know that he goes and he does a little bit on the St. Mary's type, the city property there. And mows the dandelions off and stuff.
Well, bottom line, Paul, is you're basically telling us this is not this fall and spring. This needs to be
It's
an annual thing that we
it
continue
needs-
to do year after year to keep
correct.
under control.
And when I was here the last time, I was thinking maybe if you budgeted for a person for next year to help organize stuff like that, I think it'd be good. But now that with Dave staying on for an extra 6 months, maybe we can spring a little bit of time away from Dusty to be able to tackle some of these. It's so important. You know, the dandelions, their best growing time period is between 50 and 70 degrees. Well, if it's between 50 and 70 degrees, this is one of the reasons why we've had such an explosion now. And this is another reason why it's so important to get them between the fall equinox versus the spring equinox, because in the fall, when it gets to be 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock or whatever, the temperature is dropping. In the spring equinox,
I
it's
just didn't know
heating
we were
up.
getting a horticultural lesson.
Well, all I'm saying is that in order to clean up the problem, it's not gonna be taken care of today or tomorrow, but we should start.
So
It would
we
be,
used to have the summer intern, the summer high school kid that would, why did we stop doing that?
They never did weed control.
What did they do, just
Yeah,
mow?
we did weed control.
Well, right.
Okay,
So it's Dusty because he has the licensure. So that doesn't mean it's gonna
but
change anything.
it's someone to be out there picking up sticks and,
mowing and
yeah, and Dusty can be doing the weed control stuff while there, and then they've got oversight too if they need it. I'm just wondering why at some point we started
You know, I was
doing
really kind of disgusted in City Park because it gets used so much.
The big park?
And, yeah, and here again, you know, now we're talking timing again. If you're gonna be spraying, you gotta be spraying when there's not people in there, one. And two, you're gonna wanna at least have that chemical dried on before you allow anybody in. So you're gonna have to be spraying this at a very timely, throughout the whole year in order to do it. Plus, the catch to doing that is everything in Minnesota, the weather changes, you know, from today till tomorrow. So if you plan on doing something on Thursday, you might have to do it on Wednesday, or you might have to do it on Saturday. But then but you have to stay away from the people, so that's a tough one.
You taking notes, John?
Even the boulevard all the way along the fairgrounds should be attended to, and I think
Well, the
years
fair
ago.
board takes care of that, do they
Well,
not?
that's the city is that's the boulevard, that's the city's issue, I don't know
Well,
who
not-
takes care of it.
Okay.
I saw someone mowing it the other day.
The city's under contract to take care of the north
The
boulevard,
boulevard?
the west boulevard around there.
And it was a young kid that was doing it, I don't know who it was, mowing it.
Thank you.
Was that you?
would it be fair to say all of our lots on 13th Street too?
I would say any of the,
Anything
any
we
of
own,
the
right?
city, anything the city owns.
Yeah.
As my,
Well,
I should,
the.
as my
the
dad's neighbor used to say, the
bullet-
weeds don't stop at the property line.
No, you can't take care of all the boulevards in the whole state, in the whole city, that isn't.
Not the boulevards, basically the empty lots that,
The empty lots,
yeah.
The lot behind you is city owned.
now, yeah, I sprayed that whole lot,
Oh, thank you, we appreciate it.
and, well, I'm gonna have to spray it again, but I
Oh, thank
sprayed
you,
it,
yeah.
and I mowed it a couple of times, I know that Dusty has mowed it, and John has mowed it as well. But it's gotta get leveled, and I'll take care of all that myself.
Well, I
But,
think you yourself have said, if we let you keep talking, you will just go on and on.
well, the worst part of the worst part of this
We're
whole
gonna have to
thing
cut
is,
you off,
you
Paul.
get right up against my bedtime here, and I can't stay here all night. You know, but you could have been earlier on there.
We should have moved it up. Okay.
All right.
I know we need to do spraying, and I have a
Yes.
company that sprays for me.
And
And they sprayed last week.
but it's
Thursday.
not just the
Because
cemetery,
of-
it is the parks, it's spraying for the dandelions and dandelions and the thistles and those the noxious weeds, that is a big thing. But I think we do need to get that back on a regular routine and budget for a chemical and make sure that it's done at the allotted
The
times.
thistles did want to.
I did have, Amy decided that we needed to have somebody spray our yard instead of me doing it because I was not winning. So we went with a professional company, and back in the winter, we hired them. Last week, they finally made it for the first time to spray because of weather and everything else that's been going on too. It just hasn't been working well.
I don't think that the city can afford to have a professional company
No.
do it.
No, I'm saying, but between the 3 weeks I've been here, Dusty mows all the time, John mows all the time.
That's what I was
and-
saying, I
and
don't wanna
then-
throw you guys under the
Yeah, and
bus.
then Dusty's like, well, I think I'm gonna spray tomorrow, and we have 30-mile-an-hour winds, but he can't spray. So, I mean,
But it's doable, we have
it is,
part-time
but-
staff, we just need to get it on a set rotation and go with that.
Can I ask why we don't have a summer worker anymore?
Well, we were just saying that.
I know you asked, but nobody answered.
I don't know why we.
Well, part of the summer help years ago, I don't wanna go back that far, was when the city took care of the summer rec program, and they would hire 2 people to do the swimming and baseball, and then in the afternoons, that person would help doing the mowing and stuff like that. That
Well,
was it.
but
the
that
reason,
wasn't-
well, the reason that it stopped was the school decided that they wanted to take over the swimming and baseball program.
No, but in the last, like, since Riley Weiss hasn't been here, and that was the summer of well, I know my son applied 2018, 2019. And Riley got the job, and I think nobody has done it since then. And I feel we should be giving young people in our community these jobs. And I'm sure they're cheaper than Dusty. And it gives you extra hands. Don't have anything to do, well, look, those sticks. Look at the sticks. But nobody knows why we quit having them?
I honestly don't.
We have adult individuals who come in on a part-time basis. John Lingle's picking up the slack right now. Before that, Lisa Engelman used to help a lot. Before that, it was,
Well, I get people helping, but I'm saying, let's give a kid a job. I mean, why not? It keeps them out of trouble, maybe.
Well, I'll tell you, we've got a lot of kids down at that ballpark. You know, I drove by there yesterday, and there was a major ball game going on in the afternoon with the Bullfrogs, and then you had all these kids were playing later on in the afternoon. It's a lot of stuff.
Oh,
going
they
on.
just were down there playing?
No, there was something where, they were
Oh,
down there
organized.
again, it was organized.
Was it the 212 league?
Yeah, there was two 12, or, I don't know, hell, some of them
Well,
kids couldn't
Yeah,
get it.
Regardless, yeah,
Well, I think there's enough work.
yeah.
We can find work.
Okay, well, you have a good night, thank you for
Thank you.
sharing.
Thank you. Thanks, Bob.
yeah, thanks, Paul.
They're kicking my ass out of here.
So the cemetery issue wasn't necessarily the mowing, it was more the,
To me, it's the weeds, it's the branches, it's the dead leaves under the evergreens, and again, I'm not trying to be critical of anyone, it's an observation. Someone asked me to go out there and look, I did, and it didn't present very well. So,
My question is with these like leaves underneath the evergreen, it looks to me with the picture provided that the evergreen is touching the ground, like all the way to the ground. So whereas like in the picture provided of like the other evergreens, they're trimmed up high enough that you could get a mower bagger, you know, a leaf rake underneath those large trees to be able to, you know, take care of, you know, said leaf. Like, if we're gonna like nitpick about these leaves underneath like this evergreen, you're gonna have to hire people to go out there and rake by hand
Or
to
cut the
get all this
branches
stuff.
off.
Yeah.
Really, this
That might just be the.
this photo is actually a tree growing in the evergreen with it, and then cover that cup marker that's covered, which I'm not trying to be critical, it's an observation, so. And you're right, St. Mary's has theirs trimmed up 8 feet, 9 feet.
And I think it does come down to manpower and.
Sure it does.
Yeah.
It absolutely does.
Well, I think that gets hired though, oh, does it not? I mean, you don't trim those, do you?
Yes,
So-
we do.
Oh, you,
We go after the fences, we can, go ahead, Jeff.
No, that's fine. Dusty saw the pictures and was asking what it was about also, and we have been trying to find a tree service. And ones that we've always used, they won't return calls, they're busy or whatever. We got a new tree service that I knew of, and Hector come over today. And he's gonna send us a bid, and he'll do the stuff that we're not qualified to do. We don't have a basket to lift, you know, to get up in the high ends. In the first place, he's gonna start is in Sunrise, and then we'll work in through town, through the hazards first, and then if he's got more time, we'll, you know, prioritize for him.
Right, so that's on boulevards
And that's on boulevards, but it could also be
Not
done
necessarily
for some of this out there also.
All right. Duly noted. We'll pay more attention to it.
You know, when you said sticks, were they like large ones or just little ones?
Branches that people probably, imagine when you guys go out there with a mower, you take them on a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, the branches, they get.
was it after the wind we had that one day?
The mower guys usually take them in the road, and then when we're through, once we're the one.
Well, I mean, I was out there
Pick 'em up.
several weeks
It's a
ago.
continuous process, you.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I
and I'm
said
sure
it
you're
before,
grateful.
I said it before, we manage an urban forest.
Yeah. Oh, it's, yeah.
How long does it take to
Never
mow
ending.
that cemetery?
Is it?
How long does it take to mow that cemetery?
John did it all by himself here, and I think he's down in about 5.5 hours.
Okay.
Because Dusty and I have been too busy, and we don't want to be on there anyhow, and he's able to, so. But,
Yeah, I know it takes a while.
And that's just the mowing, that's not weed whipping.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
And he does bring the branches over so we can just drive by and pick them up.
Yeah.
I think the Lions should consider taking a dozen people out there at our next work night and do it.
Not a bad idea.
Are you looking for projects like that?
Well,
I mean,
We could also
whatever,
see
anything in
if
town.
National Honor Society.
Yeah, I
we
mean-
could put out to the
Scouts.
schools some different volunteer
Scouts.
opportunities.
I think, if we could organize that, maybe let's talk about that. You know, the fourth Thursday in May and September. So put it in your heads, here's the Lions member right here, you know.
All right, moving on to, Public Works maintenance update.
Go ahead, John.
I wrote it, so.
I'm sorry, we're gonna.
I was just saying, we all read it, so unless we have questions, he doesn't need to
He doesn't need to
regurgitate everything that's on the sheet.
Okay.
Unless you have
sorry.
questions.
I'm sorry, Tracy's giving orders contrary to what you're saying.
Oh.
But that way- But, because everyone
It's
listens to
getting
the
late.
meeting and you
Oh.
relate into it, and they
Oh.
know what's going on
Got
too.
it.
Because
Okay.
that's, yeah.
It's getting late.
But I get it for tonight, yes. Yes, I am giving those orders to David.
Quick version, John.
Continue,
John.
So the ponds have been drained for the spring. There's some maintenance we're gonna do on pond 3 for the sewer ponds. Like I said, we're looking for a tree trimmer. We had a contractor come through today. Dustin is doing everything he can to keep up with the street sweeping and the spraying. He did spray Friday, part of Thursday and Friday, he sprayed boulevards and stuff. He's setting up his truck to spray, tomorrow, tonight for, mosquitoes. Splash pad is, you got that whole download already. Pickleball nets are up, and you heard about that. Jake Harry, yep, we got that. Let's see. The company supplying the spraying pumps was supposed to have gotten to us last Tuesday, and weren't they they're supposed to be here tomorrow.
They're coming tomorrow.
Coming tomorrow for the,
I didn't see that mentioned on the.
The
report.
irrigation pumps?
yes, the irrigation pumps.
That's not known right now.
Dust control is complete. The backboards have been a bit of a nightmare to get a company to work with, but as I talked to Tracy today, the purchase order has been sent. And, we'll get a trailer loaded for the events tomorrow morning for the parades and stuff. And mini rods and all that. There you go.
Can I just make a suggestion then, if that's the case? Perhaps we could say something like any of this stuff is public record, so if you're more interested in knowing about it, you could email them or something. It just seems like,
Yeah, but like for me here, I don't have a copy of it, and I took my time to come here.
sure,
I shouldn't have to go listen.
no, but, and you could easily just go with a copy for you. I'm just trying to make things a little more efficient. That doesn't work.
One thing I'd like to ask about is the Logan and Fawn McNamara.
That was discussed this morning. That is where we're starting. That, we don't know where that tree is.
Right.
We can't, Dave and Dusty have gone out there and can't find markers, so the only other ways for it to know is somebody has to get a surveyor. But the branch that's hanging down and is a threat, that will be cut.
Okay, will somebody reach out to the McNamara's, because they haven't heard anything from
I can
anybody,
reach out to
so,
Logan, yes.
yeah, thank you, thank you. Is there any way to find the pin down on the very furthest east and work back, instead of going around that curve?
The problem is with curves and instead of
That's the
angle, if
problem.
you wanna look at the oversight, where.
But if we go down to the very east,
Yeah,
isn't it
you see all
pretty
the
straight?
jogs and curved, I can't do that. I can do straight lines, but I can't do curves.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, did that. I know-
That's why I wanted to point it out, so there's supposed to be a pin down here, and there's supposed to be a pin right here, but it doesn't line up with anything.
Thank you, okay, that helps, because I assumed it was straight. But you'll get a hold of them, so, thank you.
Working on it right now.
Thank you very much.
You had something else?
I think it's, Paulie kind of talked about the park condition down there, and it's down, and, yeah, so, no, thank you.
All right, any additional questions for Public Works? If not, moving on to annual liquor licenses.
Any changes?
No, not really. Everyone is paid up to date. Just the order of rumors is changed, but everything is still otherwise the same.
Motion to approve, Neil.
Second. Motion and second to approve. Any further discussion? None heard, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Need a 4-day temporary on sale liquor license for the Arundel County Ag Society. Why was that crossed off of the original?
Because that was Don's email and that was a temporary, not an annual.
Oh, got it.
It was its own agenda item.
To approve their temporary liquor license for the Arundel County Fair, August 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Motion to approve, Neil.
No second.
Motion and second to approve. Any further discussion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Public Works retirement. Dave. Do we have anything written for you yet?
No, you don't.
Is your intent to not retire or just not to tell the city or?
You know, I don't know that this is a public meeting discussion, probably should be a personnel thing,
Well,
and I think that's actually legal.
I think the fact that we require a formal resignation with just a date is not an actual personnel issue. It's just standard.
I think this
Is there more
becomes,
to this than?
I think this becomes easier to discuss because we've already got a replacement hired.
And that's really why we need something in writing. So if you could draft something for the council, for the city, we would appreciate it.
Well, I'm sorry, Julie, but the last time I drafted or gave city notice something that got used against me, and unless the city's offering something for me to do that, I'm not inclined to do that right now. Brought it to your attention 2 meetings ago that you treated unfairly.
And that discussion would have to be in a personnel, in a closed
I
meeting.
agree.
So. All right, anything else the council needs to bring forth or to talk about at this time?
Yes, I have a resignation from the MRU. Abby Hatch Elfring has notified me as the president of the MRU that she is resigning as of yesterday. So I need a motion to approve that.
Right, looking for a motion to accept the resignation from Abby Hatch Elfring from Rhode Island MRU.
Any reason why, Krista?
Just five. And
They've
move it out
moved,
of
they've
town.
moved out of
Oh,
town.
yeah.
So
I make a motion to approve the resignation.
I'll second.
Motion and second to approve. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
I
Opposed? Carried. Anything else? Not, we'll officially close the meeting.
Oh, darn.